Hi everyone. Hope everyone's having a good Friday. I'm still in like a quarantine from work, which is pretty cool. We had 2 weeks off at winter vacation, right? And then with the coronavirus coming, we got an extra week off. And they say actually now it's going to be an extra 3 weeks off. So I would have spent over a month off work when I go back late February. So if you guys have got better news than that, then you can try and top that. But I'm going a little bit crazy because no one else is really off work. So um, I've been staring at my FPL team even more recently because I've not got anything to do. So hopefully you guys are gonna uh, join in the chat today because I'm gonna be a little bit stir crazy because everyone's working. So just hi to everyone so far in the chat. Hi, Alistair Boona, Luke, Sean, J Boy. How's it going? I think Clark is around as well somewhere. Great to see you guys in the stream. We'll have a quick review of Gameweek 25 and then we'll talk about captaincy. We can start with captaincy options if you're going to start with that, Sean. And then I've already made my moves. So the strangest thing, so you guys can see I've got 75 points from Gameweek 25, which is like I'm really, really happy about that. And the strangest thing is, and this is going to be a tip that I'm going to give sort of, well, for you guys now and for myself, is about money. One of the highest scoring weeks I've had, especially in compared to the average, I had 4 million sat in the bank. Now, we strive, every time we make a new season, we start a new season, we strive to get, 100 million done on the table, right? And it just feels as though like we should again focus on players more than price because, like I said, definitely the highest scoring points that I've got compared to the average, and I had 4 million sat in the bank. It's absolutely well. Maybe that's just a sign of this season been absolutely crazy. We'll just go through. It's not there in Ireland yet, Sean. That's good news. I think it's at a university. I think it's at University of York where it's at. I'm in Taiwan at the minute, Boona. That's why. Hey, Steve, I'm popping up your stream. Your team. I've already got it loaded up, mate. So we're all gonna. Steve's got, I think, was it AC Cooperino, one team, and his other team into Cooperino. Is that right, Steve? And one of them, the one that he's not took more gambles on, or it's like your alter ego, is like 240 in the world, guys. That is where Steve is right now. Absolutely incredible stuff. So Sean, we can start with captaincy before we do any reviews and stuff, if that's the aim. So I'll pop my. So I always do a video as well. So if you guys want to check that on the channel, I do that on. It's usually Tuesdays, sometimes Wednesdays, could be Mondays. It just depends, when the Premier League games finish, because sometimes the Premier League game finishes for me Monday morning, like 3 a.m., right? So I've got to watch it at work when I come home, and then sort of the video will be Tuesday. So I've watched pretty much 90 minutes of everything. So let me just pop on the suggestions for this game week. Before I do that, let me just catch up in the chat. Yeah, Luke, 240. Absolutely mental. Your team's worth exactly 160. You got naught left in the bank. Yeah, Sean, I think at this time it's perfectly fine, but I just mean in terms of like when we start the season, sometimes we were thinking, oh, we need to get it at 100 million, right? I'm thinking I might try and aim for like 98 million next season, just because if there's someone I need to jump to straight away, I don't have to be taking early hits or early wildcards. I think that was an issue that I've found more difficult this year, where I started the season with Salah and Sterling, and I had like no money in the bank to do anything. I didn't want to get rid of Salah and Sterling, and I just had no wiggle room. So have a look at the players to pick and the differentials. So you can see I've got the same idea of you guys. Aguero, I think I said in the video this week, it was something like 6 attempts and 5 inside the box. But always, guys, you always have to be worried about Pep Roulette, Pep rotation. We can say he's going to start. We can say, because they play in the first week, because this is, as you can see below, it's going around a very long game week. He's more likely to play because he's going to have a rest next week because they're not playing, right? But you just don't know with Pep Guardiola, right? You just don't. You have no idea what he's going to do, if he's going to drop him or not. So that's always going to be the risk. If he starts, he'll probably do pretty well. Danny Ings, I believe, has a lot of sales this game week because he's now had 3 blanks in a row. I can see that it's minus 88,000 net transfers. So 88,000 more people have transferred him out than transferred him in. So that's nice. He's 29% ownership now. Ownership's not important, of course, points are, but it's always nice to have a player that's lesser owned because it means more of a rank rise. But Danny Ings, Burnley at home, Aston Villa at home, West Ham away, Newcastle at home, Norwich away are 5 absolute dream fixtures. He even scored against Spurs again in the FA Cup, right? I'm just feeling as though Danny Ings, as an outside captaincy option, fine, but certainly as one of your sort of 2 or 3 strikers has got to be in there. And I did put a little bit of love for Aubameyang, but I kind of I don't regret putting Aubameyang in. He had a big chances against Burnley. He's a good differential, and in fact, all of those are less than 30% owned, which is a pretty good thing. Before I go into the differential sections, let me just catch up with the chat. Booner, I saw that. So I've just been talking about Southampton's great fixtures and Danny Ings, but Booner, am I right in saying that you have Ings and Long as your strikers? I'm pretty sure you've got 2 up front and they're both Southampton players. But you'll have to confirm that. I'm pretty sure I saw you on Twitter having those 2 Southampton players. You go for Aguero, captain for a -4 hit, but you don't want him long term. So the problem with that for me, Mr. Jolly, is that if it's a -4, then if it's saved for the next 2 weeks before you take him out, the issue with that is he's going to have to haul for you to make it worth it. I mean, if he just gets 1 goal now this weekend, he's your captain, so fine. So it negates that -4 hit, right? But that's the issue that you'll have if it's a short term. I like taking, so I'll get onto my transfers later, but I've taken a -4, but it's a long term thing. So a -4 spread from now till basically the rest of the season is worth it. But if you're doing it like in 1 or 2 weeks, it might not be worth it. But I mean, if he scores a hat trick and gets 40 points, then it's worth it. I know Twitter user, he's called Late Riser, right? He's done Meet the Manager on Fantasy Football Scout, and he does outlandish moves. Like he brought in Aguero before those mega hauls. He doesn't mind taking a calculated hit like that, so easily could work out. You've got all of them except Barnes. So I'll come on to Barnes later. I recommended him similar to with Lascelles, when I brought Lascelles in on a red flag and he was out, and I brought him in on a wildcard. I suggested Barnes weeks ago, just before he actually started doing well, but too early. It was like 2 game weeks before he started to do well, so I couldn't claim that it was sort of a suggestion like I can claim with Snodgrass, right? Because of course Snodgrass has just had a blinding week. Ings has had tough fixtures issues. Maybe he's had issues. Yeah, I agree with that. And he got rested for one of those games. I did mention all of this in the video that I made about Danny Ings. That she brought in both Ings and Long. Yeah. I saw it somewhere. Yeah. So, Sean, I think a lot of people, it's not about getting rid of him. It's, 88,000 people have got him out more than got him in, right? But yeah, his fixtures look so good and his price is still so good. So, Ings and Raul for a -4 next week. I think that's fair, Luke. I think that's a good risk. Raul will be my one. So I took a -4 this week because Raul will be my 1 free transfer next week. Because I think there's going to be quite a few people taking quite a few hits in the next couple of weeks because of the game week 28 blank. Fortunately for me, I'm only gonna have 1 Sheffield United defender or 1 Sheffield United player. I've got no Arsenal. I've got 1 City. I've got no Villa. So it's pretty easy for me to go through the dream team. But Puna, that's it. It's a game, right? you look at, I've got Fernandes in, oh, you can't say at the minute, but I do have Fernandes of Manchester United in my team. It's a game. He excited me. He's got amazing stats. So, that's what I'm going to go for. Arsenal more defensive attackers at Auburn, maybe not a good option. Yeah, the stats were for him and he had big chances. But they've also got pretty decent fixtures. I mean, let's not forget, Aubameyang is like 5th for strikers in terms of his scores. But Newcastle and Everton at home are his next two. So home games. Newcastle, I talked about this in the video with Abubakar Sadiq's thread about basically, so I've had Lascelles, I mentioned it earlier, having him a Newcastle defender, they're not as solid defensively as you think. They do concede a lot of chances. And Everton being shipping in goals, so they were my reasons really for Aubameyang. 16.6% ownership and, two really, really nice home fixtures. Then he'll blank in 28, but then he'll get a double as well. And then it's West Ham at home and then Brighton away, Southampton, Norwich. His Arsenal fixtures are pretty good. I don't trust Arsenal per se, but if you're going to take one person from Arsenal, it's going to be Aubameyang. Bench boosting next week. So, Sean, that's a good idea about the bench boost and free hit. People have been talking a lot about this week. I'm going to come back to that later because I'll lose my thread. So Burnley, you're right. Having Shane Long in your starting 11 won't change your entire season. You've still got a decent spine. He's your sort of one of 3 to 4 punt players in your starting 11. If he bangs, he bangs. If he doesn't, he's a cheap player as an enabler, right? So having fun is the aim of the game. So going on to the differentials. So Sheffield United, my point for Sheffield United, of course, we're not looking at Sheffield United in an offensive way. So we said earlier, someone had mentioned Fleck. Where was it? What was the transfer? Mount out, Fleck in. Okay, that's fine. Fleck as the midfielder option, that's perfectly fine. But the reason I'm saying differentials for Sheffield United, if I look at the team selected by the ownership, so Lundstrom, he's got to go. For a budget player, he's already down to 5 million. So I had him at 4.1, so I had to sell him or I'd have lost like 0.3. But Lundstrom, your budget players, if they're not going to play, you don't keep him. So Lundstrom being a box-to-box midfielder is fantastic, but if he's only going to play 2 every 5 games, it's not worth it. You need a player that's basically, with Sheffield United's possibly good defensive run that they're going to have, you need someone that plays. But Baldock, 11.7%. O'Connell, so the 5.1 millions, Baldock 11.7, Stevens 3%. And then you've got O'Connell and Egan, 4.5 for Egan, 4.6 for O'Connell. 3.3% O'Connell, 1.6% Egan. And they're the nailed on. So people have said Basham, he's at 1%, 4.5 million, but people think he might be going out for that Red Sauce. Is he the one on loan from Germany? But either way, the nailed on ones, you've got your 2 wing backs, and O'Connell and Egan are the 2 centre backs of the 3. And I can't believe that's still like a massive differential. Remember, guys, we're in a bit of a Twitter bubble. There are like, 7 to 8 million FPL players. And when you see on Twitter, the template now is 2 Liverpool, 2 Sheffield United defenders. And you look at the actual facts of, 3%, between 1 and 3% owning the Sheffield United players. So don't let that put you off. It is still incredibly low ownership with incredibly good, incredibly well priced. And the fixtures for Sheffield United, if you focus on the defensive part of it, of keeping clean sheets, Bournemouth at home, Brighton at home, both of those clubs don't travel well. Then Norwich at home, they've got 3. I know they're blanking game week 28 as well. And then Newcastle away. There are 4 games where they could get clean sheets. They've just had the 5th one, which was the previous week we've just had. Crystal Palace is a clean sheetable game, right? So I feel not having... I'm going to have 1 now, and then I'll probably double up on Sheffield United after the blank. for the double game week, right? There's no point in having, I think, 2 now, because then I'm forced to play Holgate or Lascelles in 28, and I don't particularly want to do that. Barnes, I mentioned him, I said this earlier, weeks and weeks and weeks ago, and I know it feels annoying. I say annoying, but when the bigger YouTubers and FPL people, then they talk about him, and I don't like the idea of copying. It's a little bit like when I said Abubakar Sadiq's thread. I like to give credit to the people that I've seen them say things like that before. So I did genuinely think of Barnes like by myself. I don't like copying or stealing people's content or anything like that. I think it's up to 6 million now, 7, 12, and 7 in the last 3 game weeks. The next 2, Wolves and City, are arguably very difficult, but then you've got Norwich, Villa, Watford, Brighton, and you've got to get these players, I think, before. I did recommend weeks and weeks and weeks ago Wilfried Zaha before he actually started scoring a couple of goals. I wouldn't go back to Zaha. But yeah, maybe getting in earlier rather than later could be a good option. And then Fernandes, I brought him in. We talked about this with Booner earlier before. It's a game, and he excited me, and I knew I wasn't probably going to keep Mane. I liked spreading that money around, and it's just his stats. I know it's from Portugal, and I don't want to, poo on the Portuguese league, but it's still impressive. It's still a competitive league, and remember in that first game against Wolves, he was playing deeper. You've got the likes of Matic and McTominay out, suspension and injury. So when they come back, is he going to go forward in more of that 10 role? I think that's it just excited me. 8 million, I thought, why not? And that I use that Mane money to spread it around. And, again, it's on the video I made on Tuesday. And I know, I think on Fantasy Football Scout, they wrote an article about Fernandes being a good option. Definitely one to put on there. So captaincy options, of course, you can look at the likes as well. So not just the lads on the stream, but you've got Kevin De Bruyne, hopefully should play as well. Salah is going to be my captaincy, so I'll take this off and we'll go back to having a look at the team. So this is the team that I'm probably going to be going into game week 26 for, and that is my captaincy pick is going to be Salah with Trent as vice at the minute, but actually I am going to take that and put that on Kevin De Bruyne. I always still worry with Manchester City, always still going to worry. All right, I'll have to catch up, so let me scroll up. So Sean, being Irish, is not a fan of long. It's all right. You'll be kicking yourself if the Irishman bangs and Boona sits here and is giving it the big guns. So Steve, I'll come to your team. I'll put your team 240 in the world, which is fantastic, and no Kevin De Bruyne guys in that team, which is that takes some guts. That. But you're thinking Sterling to go, brought him in for Mane. But it has come out with Sterling that Man City have come out and said that he is injured. He is out, by the way. So Sterling will probably have to go. And it's going to be another -4 to take the hit. That's not great. Thoughts on Mahrez? If he plays, fantastic. But Man City, I did a little bit of a meme earlier where, the guy, he looks happy because I said, Messi could be in FPL next season. And then he looks disappointed because if he signs for Man City, he's just going to be a royal pain in your arse. And you won't know if, and Sean makes a good point about press conferences. I think there's only 5 or 6 press conferences before deadline. It's an absolute horrible game week. Not only is it like 2 weeks long, it's great because all games are on TV. So if you've got those subscription packages, you can watch basically every single game. But in terms of FPL, you're not going to get a lot of stuff there. Yeah, Steve, you're saying the same thing about me about pet rotation. You've gone for Barnes and just FPL Anderson. That's a really good shout. Is selling Vardy for Aguero a good choice? Alistair, for me, no. He's going to blank in a couple of weeks. He could bang against West Ham. That's fine. But I'm sticking I'm sticking with Vardy. His ownership can go down, his price can go down. I don't care. He could get something against Wolves. City at home, he scored against them away, and then Norwich, Villa, Watford, Brighton, Everton, Palace. He's still in for the Golden Boot. And I did sort of disagree with people talking about these blanks and him being out of form. This is why I said Vardy Afterparty underneath. Because, okay, Liverpool thumping him, Liverpool's thumped everyone. They're walking away with the league. They're even making Man City look mediocre, and Man City are a world-class team, right? So let's not worry about that. 2 games he doesn't play isn't a blank. You get a player off the bench, right? So that's not a blank if he's not playing. He did play. He got an assist. Burnley, he missed a penalty. He scores that penalty. He's looking at about 6 points, maybe even plus bonus after that. And then he's back in his back-to-back hauling. And then he got injured. He came off. All right, that's unlucky. Mane got injured. Doesn't mean we're all saying he's out of form. And then 79 minutes, and in like the 78th minute, he set up Harvey Barnes for an absolute sitter, and he just clipped it off the bottom post. That goes in, and he's got 3 returns out of 4, with an injury being that one. So just 2 very close things. Penalty save, and Barnes missing an absolute sitter. So Aguero is amazing. He's an amazing player, but isn't it like 2 million? And I'm going now for a more of a balanced side. That's why I don't have Mane in here at the minute. So Anderson, you're holding it as well. Take the punt on Mane. Steve, will that be a -8 though if you do that? And you're going to kick yourself if you do -8 and you bring Mane back and he doesn't play. Like, that'll be an absolute killer. Hey, man, how you doing, buddy? See quite a few more names here. Boona bringing the elite boys. So, Maestro, who should you captain between Aguero and Salah? If you told me right now that Mo Salah and Sergio Aguero will definitely play. The press conference came out and they both said, yep, Pep says Aguero plays, Klopp says Salah plays. I'd probably go for Aguero. Because if you guys have seen that West Ham defence, how comically bad it is, then, and Aguero plays, they will rip them. They must destroy them. And my outside punt for Manchester City, and I'm probably going to stick my foot in my mouth here, is Raheem Sterling. Because Raheem Sterling, the last 2 times he's played him, has destroyed him, right? He destroyed him in Gameweek 1 and he destroyed him in the pre-season friendly, right? Now, granted, that was way at the start of the season, but maybe sometimes... Look at Glenn Murray. Glenn Murray played for Brighton because he's got a good history against playing against West Ham. What happens? He scores. Right, so maybe just certain players just have a little thing for some teams, right? Maybe West Ham is Raheem Sterling's thing. That's a huge punt, though. But I mean, he's not going to play, so it's a moot point anyway. So captaincy options. Has Sterling been fit, he would have been a great outside bet. But Salah versus Aguero, I'd probably say Aguero, but I do like captaining. Now, not about ownership, not about how many other people captaining them. I do like captaining midfielders over strikers because they get more points for what they do. Salah scores, Aguero scores, Salah gets more points because he's classed as a midfielder, right? And Salah's against bottom of the table, but West Ham are looking absolutely rubbish at the back. Henderson, TAA... See, so we'll just start with that about Henderson. A lot of people start to bring him in, but let's not forget that he blanks in 28 and then he cannot play against Manchester United in... When did he play Manchester United? Oh, I've just realised I didn't have to do that. I can just click on O'Connell. Play Man United in 31. And that could be people's... So coming back to chips that we mentioned earlier, people are thinking that Game Week 31 is when you play your free hit. So if that is your set-in plan, that's fine. But yeah, just for me, for Henderson, unless you're on a wild card, don't change your goalkeeper. Look at Pope, he's destroyed everyone. TA, Lascelles, I like Lascelles getting popular. Robertson, Salah, KDB, Barnes, Grealish, Ings, Jimenez, and Vardy. I like it. That front three is going to be my front three next game week. I had Jimenez for most of the season. I was banging his drum saying he's so unlucky that people kept transferring him out. He was, Mr. Consistent, the postman always delivering, and I took him out. And he made me pay. So, but actually, it didn't make me pay that much because Calvert-Lewin came in and it's done all right for me. But my Everton boys, Sidibe's already gone. I'll come on to my transfer news in a minute. Sidibe's already gone. The plan was after this Palace game they were going to make Holgate was going to sit on the bench and Calvert-Lewin was going to go back to Jimenez. The team's good. I've never really felt a lot of fear for the likes of Maddison or Grealish. I don't know why, because the points are on the board, right? But watching Grealish against Bournemouth, and I can't remember who it was before that, he does look really, really good, actually, especially for his price. Robert's got 2 free transfers. He's using one to bring in Salah for Mane. Yep. Do you bring in Traore, Tielemans, or Barnes for Maddison for the next 2 to 3 games? I wouldn't do Maddison to Tielemans. That's kind of a downwards move. Barnes will save you a bit of money, so possibly Barnes. The problem with Traore is, you can see on my team right now, he's got a yellow flag. He's likely to play. He's going to sit on my bench, I think, this game week because he dislocated his shoulder, and we're not going to have the information about him playing or not before the deadline. So I won't bring in Traore because he's flagged. Tielemans seems like a downwards move. Barnes equally sideways, but you're saving money. I'd probably save the transfer if I'm honest, Robert. Who would captain Salah for 70 minutes or Son? I don't understand the question now, man. Sorry. Unless that's a typo. Guaita. Oh, you must have brought Guaita during his golden age. TA, Soy / Lundstrom and Robertson. De Bruyne, Maddison, Grealish, Mane. Yeah, so, again, don't worry about seeing people with a similar squads as you, because the ownership might not always be as high as you think. We are in a bubble of, let's say, committed FPL players where we actively, watch live streams or videos or Twitter threads and things like that. And so, yeah, a lot of those players that you've got are solid. I wouldn't be rushing to get any out except Söyüncü and Lundstrom. I cashed in on Söyüncü ages ago. Thinking about Liverpool. Not we all. Bolly is back. Hold on, missed that. Bolly back from injury and quite a cheap, good attack and defence. Yep, completely agree after the next game. Leicester at home. Norwich, fantastic. That'd be great. Spurs away. You could bring Bolly in now. What is he, 4.7? I need someone on my radar as well. Someone who I'm backing. Wolves. When I did my wildcard and you guys saw, I had 3 Wolves players. I had Saiss in defence, I had Raul Jimenez, and I had Traore. And people saying, triple up on Wolves? What's this? And I was like, yeah, but, the top 10, really, really, really well priced. But I did mention this on my video from this game week. Wolves are actually in the relegation zone in terms of form over the last 6 games. If I can bring the form guide up to show you guys, Wolves are the second worst team in terms of form right now. So you can see Liverpool seat at the top, Everton surprisingly in 3rd, but Crystal Palace, not necessarily surprising, but really surprising to actually see Wolves second worst team over the last 6 for form. Joint with West Ham. So we're all picking holes in the likes of West Ham and the Wolves fixtures as well. So Liverpool, okay, fine. They lost to Watford. That's a poor result. Drew with Newcastle. That's a poor result. Sorry, Newcastle. Then they beat Southampton just 3-2. Lost Liverpool again. Okay, that's fine. And drew with United, which is arguably a winnable game in these days. So Bolly is a great option at 4.7. I just feel at the minute, I don't want to be too template, but I've got 2 Liverpool players. Most people have 1 Liverpool player. I'd rather have 2 Sheffield United and play 3 at the back than put Bolly in at the minute. At least until probably after that Spurs game in a couple of weeks. But for the likes of Game Week 28, it's half decent because people will be blanking. But that is Spurs away, and that's not what I'm keen on. So from Game Week 29, Bolly is someone who'll be looking closely at. Triple Captain Aguero this week. I'm not going to say it's a bad option. I played my triple captaincy in Game Week 1 for Mo Salah, and it worked out pretty well. People waited and studied and played it on Mane in the double Game Week 24, and it didn't pay off. So I've already said it, if he plays, there's a real hard chance he's going to score, 2 goals? I think if Aguero starts the game, you're looking to him score at least 2 goals, right? So I don't think he's a bad option. If you triple captain, after watching West Ham, their defence and their form recently, and you triple captain Aguero, and something good or bad happens, people are not going to say, oh, that was a stupid decision, right? I mean, if you're going to sit here and tell me you triple captained Calvert-Lewin at home to Crystal Palace, then yeah, that's crazy. But I think that's a perfectly fine thing. The mantra that I keep saying this season, all season, is don't get angry at the result, only at the decisions that you make. And the decision to triple captain Aguero against West Ham, it's not a poor decision. People with the recent stats that Aguero's posted on the board, pretty decent form as well. It's really not a bad decision. It's just a dangerous one because is he going to play? And we can sit here and speculate, yeah, he's going to play easily. They've not got a game next week. Or, no, they're going to wrap him in cotton wool for the Champions League. The truth is we just don't know. So that's the risk that you're going to have to take. Perez is a good Vardy alternative and cheap. Yep, I agree. I completely agree. I recommended him when he was getting his hauls against the likes of Newcastle, wasn't it? Firmino out for Aguero for -4. Is it worth it? No. If you've got Aguero and you're going to take a hit to take him out, you're going to kick yourself when he gets 20 points. If not Aguero, how about Mahrez? Now, Charles, that's an interesting point. A lot of people have been talking about, Mahrez being a great punt. I do think he's a great punt as well. However, just because Sterling is out injured, that doesn't mean it's going to be Mahrez that's going to play. It could be the Silvers on either side with Aguero down the middle. It could be Jesus and Aguero as a 2 up top, right? So I think Mahrez is a fantastic option. I think every City player is a fantastic option if they can nail down a place. That's why I was going for a period of time to not go the likes of 4 at the back with a Sheffield United defender. I was going to try and do 2 Liverpool and Laporte, because Laporte feels like if he's fit enough and plays, he's basically nailed on, right? Like Ederson, Laporte, and even now to an extent Kevin De Bruyne are your 3 nailed on Man City players. Would I play Joe Gomez or Jack Stevens? Joe Gomez. How many clean sheets has Liverpool got in a row now? Is it this many clean sheets? Is it really? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 in the last 10? Yeah, I'd go Joe Gomez. I mean, Stevens is great. He's attacking. Gomez, you're just going for a clean sheet, though, right? But, what is it, 9 clean sheets in 10? I'd look to Maestro. I'd look to possibly play both. I'm playing 4-3-3 this week. It's kind of reversed. At the start of the season, no team could buy a clean sheet. And now it feels like, the likes of Liverpool getting 9 out of 10. You don't fear Madders and Grealish or Traore. Yeah, just fine. Traore, just when he gets it, he gets like 2 points or he gets 12, right? Next week, Grealish to Redmond. Yeah, I have seen a little bit of stuff from Redmond. I'm not going to triple up on Southampton. Like, I could bring in a Southampton defender. I did earmark as players at new clubs watch list, which is going below somewhere over here now. Kyle Walker-Peters was one for me, if he plays. You transferred in David Silva. Thoughts on Man City assets? So Pulakash, yeah, I've already said it. Amazing, fantastic, wonderful. I'd have 3 Manchester City players probably in my side if they could actually promise me that they'd play. Oh, you're about... Oh, okay. So Aman said earlier, 70-minute Salah cameo because he might get subbed off early, or Son. But the thing is, if Salah gets subbed off early, chances are he's already scored. But Heung-min Son is a huge differential captaincy pick. And yeah, David Silva, since he's come back from injury, is more of a squad player. So, again, it's just worrying. More pay to Wood from -4. Only sub is Traore. Only good sub. I've got Traore as my sub. I think Traore is going to play. So taking a -4, like I said, Moobsy, like I said earlier before, right? You're going to take a -4. If it's going to be a player that you're going to have for, say, 5 game weeks, I just say to myself, okay, this is a -4 spread over 5 weeks. I don't take it as like a 1 week thing, right? Because Wood will be in your side for the future. So do I disagree with getting with the transfer itself? More pay to Wood seems like a pretty good one. But you got to ask yourself for this game week, is Wood going to... If Traore plays, let's say Blanks gets 2 points, Wood plays and he scores a goal, he's getting the same as Traore, right? So you need to ask yourself, do you think Wood is going to score more than that? If Wood is going to score basically 2 goals or getting a goal and assist and Traore is going to blank, because you'll kick yourself if, Traore plays, he gets an assist, he gets 5 points, Wood scores and gets 5 or 6 points, but you're actually still minus because you took a -4. You'll see what people got against Gomez, most other than Trent. Yeah, Sean, if you're going for clean sheets and just getting Gomez, questions over the likes of Matip coming back, but I think the Liverpool backline's pretty sorted. Yeah, Luke, I said the same thing earlier about people taking hits. People taking hits because of Champions League, because someone will do well this game week and then forget that this game week is 2 weeks long, right? So they'll make a transfer like this Saturday, and then someone will get injured maybe later in this game week or next week, part of this game week. That's why I wanted... So I'll just move on to my transfer news was Robertson came in for Sidibe for nothing because I had money in the bank from Mane Fernandez move, and then I took a -4 Lundstram to O'Connell. So I was going to do this last week and I'd have broken even because I'd have actually got +1 because he got 7 points last week and Lundstram got 1. So there's a 6 point difference -4. I would have actually earned 2 points. But my point about what I said earlier about taking a -4 hit, I'm basically saying that Lundstram, I don't think he's going to play anymore. So let's just say Lundstram comes on and gets 1 point and they get a clean sheet and O'Connell gets 6. I'm up by 1 point, but then I've got O'Connell in my side for basically the rest of the season. And if I didn't have O'Connell, I would have had to play Traore. Traore doesn't play, and so on. It knocks down to Snodgrass and Lascelles. So they were my 2 moves this week from -4. So that's what I did. So I'm taking a -4 now, and then that's it. You're not looking forward to Saturday, going to be boring. Everton Palace. This is what makes FPL so good. I have 2 players in that Saturday game. So for me, you're going to be... This is the great thing about things like Fantasy Premier League, right? I completely understand. So 1 game this Saturday, Everton against Crystal Palace. That is just not a game where you... That's like the last game that's going to be a match of the day, right? But for me, I'm going to be sat there going, oh my God, I've got 2 players playing in this game. I need a goal from my striker. I need a clean sheet from my defender. So for me, it's going to be exciting. Just bring in Dominic Calvert-Lewin for a 1 week punt. Then it won't be bad. Yeah, good luck, Bulakesh, if you brought in David Silva. I've always wanted to own him this season, but he got injured and yeah, he's more like a squad player now. Kind of Captain Aguero over Salah because you don't want to wait and fall massively in the ranks of City. Yeah, but you got to remember then equally that if City destroy West Ham next week, Liverpool could still destroy Norwich. And the problem that you've got is if West Ham are not destroyed by Aguero, if Aguero comes off in 5 minutes and gets 1 point, right, and he's your captain, you don't just have to wait like 6 days until the next FPL to erase it. You've got to wait 6 days until you watch Salah play bottom of the table Norwich. And then you've got to wait like another 6 days for the next game week. So if you captain Aguero and he blanks, you've got to wait like 2 weeks until you can sort of get that out your palate. So that's another thing for me as well. You're getting in a Garlo. Plays up top and Marshall plays on the wing. Go for it, man. See, I brought in Fernandes, but I knew he was going to play. I even tweeted out, when he signed, here's why I think he's going to play, and he did. But Igalo, I mean, if you play 6.5 million striker for Manchester United, is not bad. I just don't think he's going to play. But we'll see. Fantastic if he does. Lana is being linked with a move to Leicester. I understand it. Lallana's a bit time player for Liverpool. Yeah, I said Brendan Rodgers has had him before. I think that's a really good signing for Leicester. I think he's a really good player. I mean, they can't do anything until the summer, right? Mason Mount, no, not for me. Not for Chelsea. I got rid of Chelsea assets pretty early on. I held on for Abraham for a little bit too long. If I'd have just gone Abraham to Ings, I don't know where I'd be right now in the rankings. When people moved, when he got injured over Christmas, right? Or just before Christmas. If I'd have made that move as well, I would have been laughing. But yeah, not Chelsea, not for me. I think it was Fantasy... Planet FPL. I think they're called Planet FPL. Let me just double check that. I always say I don't like... if I've heard an idea or seen a thread or something, I always, give the credit where it's due. But yeah, Planet FPL, that's Sudge and James. They made the, I think it was James that made the point on the show about how many points there are in the Premier League right now. And he said he wanted something like Spurs to always get on average 2 points a game. Something like 70 points or 75 points will get you Champions League. Right now, Chelsea are fourth, and after 25 games, they've got 41 points. So I know Chelsea are in fourth, but just, I don't know, it's just they're not really setting the world on fire. I don't think Chelsea is the right one for me. Lana's very overrated. I think he's technically very good, though, like ball control. I think his technique is class. City normally score a hatful against West Ham. Yeah, I mentioned this earlier. So you think Sterling for KDB for the same reason? KDB is my vice. I just think Salah, he plays next, let me scroll down. So he plays next Sunday, right? And he's already back in the gym working out. And City play this Monday. Monday night football against Sunday night football. So they're both at night, doesn't really mean anything. I think Kevin De Bruyne's a really good option as well. But I'd say number one for me, I think it's going to be Salah, then Aguero, then Kevin De Bruyne. But in terms of if you want to rise in the ranks and get ahead, then maybe it would be Aguero, Kevin De Bruyne, and then Salah, because Salah's going to be the highest captained player this week. But don't let that put you off. I always say, try not to think about ownership, percentages, live ownership, who owns what. Look at your team and say, who is going to score the most points for me this game week? And choose that player. If there's 2 million people that captain Salah, and 10 people that captain Fernandes, that doesn't mean, I'm going to go Fernandes. Go for who you think is going to score the most. But I do feel that Aguero, Kevin De Bruyne, and Salah are all very good options. Don't get angry at the result, only at the decision. So if you captain De Bruyne or Aguero or Salah and one of them blank or two of them blank or all of them blank or all of them whole, it's still, a good decision for me. Would anyone not jump up Tammy at the end of the season? So I understand, I get Chelsea trying to get that fourth place. might be a good option at the end of the season, but right now it's like looking forward with chip options, which I'll talk about after this. For me, it's just like right now I can't really see past the likes of Vardy, Ings, and Jimenez. They're my front three boys, and I'd rather probably go say if I had to get rid of one, let's say Jimenez, I'd rather go Jimenez down to like a 5 million striker and then play 3-5-2 or even 5 at the back rather than go for Tammy Abraham again. I actually don't like Tammy Abraham's attitude. He sulks and moans at his own team when he doesn't get the ball, which from an FPL point of view, that seems great, right? You want that sort of selfish striker. But I just don't, as a football fan and occasional football player, I don't like to see is that kind of attitude. Game week 29 might be double game week for City. Possible. All possible. McCarthy, Trent, Gomez, O'Connell, KDB, Traore, Salah, Bruno. Yeah, Bruno. Ings, Aguero, Aubameyang. Yeah, that's a really good squad. And I mean, the whole squad's pretty solid, right? How many points do I think I'll score this game week? 55. That's what I'm going for. 55. I think I'll get 2 clean sheets at the back. Salah goal. Kevin De Bruyne assist. Fernandes nothing. Calvert-Lewin goal. Ings surprise blank. Vardy goal. Something like that. Or I could be sat here next week, giving it the big guns with the 100 points. Now, I don't think I'll get triple figures. I can't remember the last time I ever did. So going about chips, the main thing that I'll say is always prepare, always plan transfers and stuff, but a lot of people are already so people bringing in Henderson saying, yes, I will play my free hit in game week 31. I wouldn't plan definites for stuff like that yet. And I know it seems like a bit of a easy thing to sort of say, but it's true. I'm not planning really for these chips yet. Of course, the idea is to free hit in 31, but some people are saying, hey, how about we just play 8 players in game week 31 and then use that free hit in a double game week and have just an entire squad basically of people doing a double game week. That might get you more points. To have a single game week and only play, say, 8 or 9 players, and then have a full 11 play a double game week, I don't think that sounds mad. I think that's a pretty good strategy. So I'm not going to say anything about playing free hits. I'm just going to prepare for this blank game week, which is Sheffield United, Manchester City, Aston Villa, and Arsenal. So I'm pretty prepared for that already. That's fine. But I'm not really going to plan ahead until I actually know what's going to happen. But I think the problem is I've got 3 Liverpool players, so I'm going to be down to the bare bones as it is. If I get that news early enough, I'm probably still going to keep 3 Liverpool players. So I might just play 8 players and then just be hey, yeah, fine, okay, I'm not having a good game week this game week, but check out this. I've got 11 players playing 2 games this week. So that would be my idea so far. Don't put anything in stone yet, but just prepare for this blank game week and double game week first. Because it looks like it's going to be... Because that game week 31 free hit idea, the teams that look like they could be playing right now are not very attractive. So we'll see. I would like the idea, if I can get 9 players on the pitch or 8 players on the pitch, I'll just use my free hit during a double game week and have 11 players playing 2 games. You're dreaming you get 72. That's the dream. You might touch 70. I'm liking the optimism of the chat. And Sean, so you're making an interesting point there about Liverpool, about resting people. I think that's it. I think Liverpool's going to go hard now. I think they're going to try and wrap up the league in the next 5 to 7 game weeks and then start to do it. So that's when I might, drop down Liverpool players if they're starting to rest. But let's not forget, as the Champions League gets smaller and fewer teams are left in it, there's longer times between it. It's not like they're playing 3 games a week because they've got, the Champions League coming up every week. It's just a knockout, two fixtures and then a break, right? Hey, Rudy, how you doing, bud? You've got Kevin De Bruyne, Aguero, and Salah. Oh my God, you've got the Holy Trinity. Aguero's a risk, but I choose Aguero, but I still think Salah's the best option. You'd rather free hit for a double game week. Same as me, Sean. Yeah. It makes more sense as a free hit for the blanks. They're generally not great games as the fact that knocked out the FA Cup. Yep. Thanks, Mr. Jolly. Have a good day. So I said I was going to bring up Steve's team. So Steve, you said 240 in the world, was it? 240 in the world. Let me whap this over here. Oh, I already did have it on. I forgot that. So absolutely incredible. So he asked me, and if anyone has any suggestions as well, I think Steven's still about. So you can see, he said this team right here, no Kevin De Bruyne. He's got Raheem Sterling. There you go. Thanks, Steve. 247 in the world. Absolute madness. So I said earlier, and Boona, I think you said the same as well. Yeah, I'm not scared of Maddison. Well, there you go. Maddison, Ali, Calvert-Lewin. So 247 this team. So I'd earmarked, I think I told you, Steve, like 7 or 8 players to switch out. But the key one I did say at the minute is Kelly, because it's likely that he's dropped his place. Lundstrom, Douglas and Rico. So Rico and Lundstrom, again, they're people that I've probably got to go too. But they can sit on your bench. That's not a rush. Sterling has to go because he's injured, and you can't bench him for Lundstrom. So Kelly has to go because he doesn't play. Swap him for a Sheffield United defender. And Sterling, like I said, probably to Mane. So they're the. So, Steve, what was it that you said earlier about? You took a -4. You took a -4 to already this week. But I did mention it, and if anyone's got any ideas as well for Steve, then pop them in the chat. But a team that has Sterling and doesn't have Kevin De Bruyne and doesn't have Trent Alexander-Arnold and doesn't have Aguero or doesn't have Aubameyang is currently 247 in the world. Absolutely mental. And Pope is the goalkeeper who everyone took out earlier in the season. It's absolutely crazy. But I mean, it depends as well, Steve, how active you've been in changing this out. 190 is great. I went from 1.9 million to 1.25 this game week. I'm telling you, top 500k. I'm gonna strive for the top 500k because this is the one season where I'm really trying to focus and do the stats and do everything kind of more seriously. Not serious like my attitude of I'm not gonna have fun, but more into it. Is the worst season I've ever had in 10 years of FPL. Straight swapping for Mane. However, if Mane doesn't, if Mane's not fit, so you've not done anything. So if you're gonna take a -4, I think that's fine. I said Kelly's not gonna play, so you're not gonna have 10. You don't have 11 players, right? So maybe just Kelly for a Sheffield United player. You could straight swap for Mane, but again, you said it exactly right, Steve. If Mane doesn't play as well, you're screwed. Certainly Lundstrom to O'Connell and probably KDB. Yeah, I think that's a good shout, Sean. I think I did mention. Did I? Is that what I said to you as well? Did I say KDB? Let me check. I did. I said exactly that. I said, P.S. Keep your eye on Sterling's injury. This is before we knew he was out injured. Maybe an easy swap to Kevin De Bruyne or a punt on Mahrez could be wise and free up funds. So so you've got the exact same idea as me there, Sean. So you dropped 90k, Luke. It happens. I wouldn't be too worried about that. So I think unfortunately it will possibly be a -4 hit unless you think Lundstram might play. Put Lundstram in for Kelly because Kelly's dropped, right? Like I'm not making this up. I did say like the whole time that ages ago that Kelly was gonna lose his place. Yeah, he didn't play 61 minutes, and he was at fault in this Southampton. Was it the Southampton game when he did that horrible back pass and gifted a goal away, and then he's dropped. He's definitely not fit. He's only played because of injuries. So definitely Sterling to Kevin De Bruyne, Kelly. Always dropped like 500k. Yeah, and that happens even where I was. I was like 1.5 million. I dropped to 1.9. So, and I think it hurts and looks more the higher up you are. So, like Luke said, 190 to 280. You think, oh my god, like I've almost doubled my rank. Whereas when I've gone from like 1.7 to 1.9 million. It doesn't hit, even though my drop is more, it's 200,000 places, right? It doesn't look as bad as 190 to 280. You've got the funds to swap Richarlison to Mahrez. Is it risky? Yes, it's risky to have 3 City players, especially if you've got any Arsenal, Sheffield United or Villa players because they're going to blank in 2 or 3 weeks. Also, Richarlison at home to Crystal Palace. What did I point out earlier? The worst form team in the Premier League over the last 6 games. I think you'd kick yourself if Mahrez doesn't play, Richarlison does, and you can enjoy the Saturday game with me. That thriller at Goodison Park, the mighty Everton against the brawny Crystal Palace side. The goals again at the top 100k. Yeah. That's always the goal. I don't think I'm going to be able to achieve that this year, but that's just the way it is. So I think that's all the boxes ticked. We're not going to hear a lot of injury news. We've covered Steve's incredibly impressive high-level team. So I think that's going to be it for this game week. There's probably not going to be a video or stream next week because it's still this game week. I could still do a stream next Friday. It's possible just to have a look back. But I mean, by next Friday, we'll have only had 2, 4, 6, 8 teams. So it's likely there'll be nothing next week. I think you're so excited for KVD. Jiggle the defenders, avoid penalty points. Yep, you're the boss, Steve. 247. Up the toughest. I hope so. Come on, Holgate, Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Let's have a good start to the game week. All right. Good luck for this game week, guys. I hope you all get red arrows and just enjoy the game week. It's going to be on TV, so you can watch them all. Hat-trick for Bruno. Hat-trick of assists, maybe, Sean, and then we'll be laughing. All right. So thanks for joining, guys. I always enjoy just chewing the fat with you guys about football and FPL. Hopefully you enjoy it too. If you leave a like and subscribe, that'd be nice as well. So have a good one. Good luck, everyone. And I'll see you soon. The Ambridge tweet. Don't be like this, Steve. All right. Take care, guys. I'll see you later.